In this section, we will talk about Inert's cloud connection in central units and rule engine. So the topic covered in this section are registration and login of Inert's cloud, adding gateways, wired and wireless, adding devices in cloud account, and the rule engine conditioning with cloud devices. So in the web, log into the Inert's cloud account, inerts.cloud, and register. Enter the email address, name, surname and password, and then register. You will get an email uh, with the registration link. Log in with that link and enter the email address and password and log into the cloud account. After entering to the cloud account, you will see the general view here. In the left side, you will see the tab, rooms, devices, rules, language, and the other credential. The room is the place where you are creating new rooms which will find in the Inerts application, and here you can expand and minimize the view. And in the devices, where we can add device, and here in the gateway we will see the added gateway, and the rule is the place where we are creating different rules to the devices we add through the gateways. And in the language we can choose different language. So if you forget your password, you can click there and you will get a link to reset your password in your registered email ID. So next we will open the Inerts application in a mobile, and here we will add the ELAN gateway. So first we need to add the ELAN gateway in the mobile, then it will automatically add it to the cloud account. So once you open the application, you will see the general overview here. Go to the account tab and then gateway administration and add gateway, and it will automatically search for the gateway in the network. Select ELAN RF and enter the login credentials. It will add the ELAN gateway to the app. So once you add the gateway here, it will automatically add to the cloud account as well. So here you will see the devices. Here I already connected the devices before, so you will see the devices in the device tab. After adding gateway, go back to the cloud account, and in the device section, gateway, you will see the ELAN RF gateway added here, and it will also show the number of devices added to that gateway. So in the device section, if you don't need any devices in the cloud, you can select it and then you can delete it. Also here you will see the green uh, indication, which means the device is online. If you connect other gateways like bus gateway, you can add the devices manually as well. So this is how you have to add ELAN gateway to the cloud account. Now we will see how to connect Inerts bus gateways, that is ELAN CU3 02 to the Inerts cloud account and use those devices in the Inerts application. So before you start, you have to note this information. The Inerts cloud feature is supported only in the IDM 3.4.14 and in the higher versions. You can download the IDM from the partners portal. To enable the cloud connection in CU301 and CU302M, you have to install another software called Inerts Cloud, which is coming along with the installation package. So you have to install that. If the inner cloud is that software is not working properly, then try turn off antivirus or defender, Windows Defender, and reinstall again. It will work. The version IDM 3.4.14 is not directly compatible with the older IDMs. So those project which is created in the older IDM version will not work in the IDM 3.4.14, but in the newer IDM like 3.4.15 the backward compatibility is there. Before setting cloud connection in CU, it is necessary to update the firmware in the CU to 02.C5. You have to do it via factory default. So press the 3 button, press and hold it while the CU turns on. So the default IP will be 192.168.1.1. When updating the firmware in CU3, you need to have only one network adapter running, otherwise the uploading ends with your error. So turn off the Wi-Fi and connect the CU directly to the laptop directly via Ethernet cable, and create a new project and check all the export function for all the devices you want to use in the cloud application. As I mentioned before, in the upcoming version of IDM, there is a backward compatibility of the project. So if you still want to use old project in the IDM 3.4.14, then you have to do it manually after uploading the project to the IDM. Go to the device manager and you have to select the firmware manually. Here are the steps you need to do before doing the cloud connection in the central unit. So when the CU boots up, press the 3 button, left up and right arrow until the display shows BIOS system. So go to factory default and press yes. So the steps confirm the setting of CU to factory default stage. If you connect to the IDM, then the IP of the CU will be 192.168.1.1, and after that connect to the IDM and update the firmware to 02C5. So while doing the firmware update, the firmware will still show the 02.C4. So in the upcoming version we will resolve that one. To make sure the successful firmware update, you can see the display of the CU. When it boots up, it will show the correct firmware version in the CU display. After this, open IDM and connect to the central unit. So in the settings, enter the default IP and test the connection. Go to the device manager, enter the address of the CU, and then connect. Go to the drop down menu again and then the download firmware. So here you will see the old firmware and update to the new firmware. You should connect CU directly to the laptop via Ethernet cable and turn off the Wi-Fi. So in few seconds you will get the successful firmware update. Second step is to create a new project and change the IP of the central unit and connect it to the switch and check the export function in all the devices which you want to use in the mobile application or in the cloud. We will go back to the IDM and in the central unit configuration change the IP address. So now you have to select the IP range of your router now. So enter the IP here, subnet gateway and the DNS as well, and then save to central unit. So by the time you connect to the Wi-Fi, which is in the same router, and the CU should also be now connected to the router. Now close this tab and connect to the central unit again. So now the IP changes, and then search the structure and save it to the central unit. Save with the central unit details. After saving this, I will open a project which is already created in the same IDM, and I will load it to the central unit. We need to connect to central unit and then save it. Now the IDM is connected to the central unit and the project is saved. You can also confirm all the devices are working fine by using the monitor. Click at the buttons and check whether it is on or off. You can see here it is on and off. If you see any button not working properly, then the wrong firmware is selected in the device. So you can go to the download unit firmware and upgrade or downgrade the firmware and save the project to the central unit. And again check in the monitor whether the device is properly responding and you are seeing the same status in the monitor. Thus you can confirm all the firmwares are loaded properly and all working firmwares are there in the project. After the successful creation of project in central unit, then you need to export all the devices which you want to use in the Inner's cloud or application from the device manager. So go to device manager, select the device and check the export function. Step 3, configuration in Inner's cloud software. So run the program and fill in the central unit address, IP address, and click connect, and then enter the cloud IP and cloud port and set up the cloud IP, and then you can close. So in the step 4, the cloud configuration in the IDM. So in the central unit configuration, enter the IP address, gateway, and add the Inner's cloud account to the central unit and save. So I will show it in detail. This is the window pop up when you open the Inner Cloud application. So enter the name, you can write any name, and enter the central unit address, and then enter the correct IP address. Also make sure that your central unit is now connected to the internet and your PC will be same as the network. So after this connect, you will see here the status. Central unit is stop, now it is in fast run, and after that enter the cloud IP. Here it is and the cloud port is 6677, and then set up the cloud. So you will see here the status, and one system tree will pop up. So here we got a message that restart CU, setup cloud IP is okay. So that means this application connected the central unit to the cloud. So now you will see at the same time the central unit will restart automatically, then close this window. After the cloud setup, come back to IDM and set up the CU configuration for cloud connection. So here you will see central unit configuration. So IP address is correct, gateway, DNS, everything is correct, and in the third party setting the port should be 1111 and the mode is IDM, and you need to check all the functions you need to available in the cloud. So we need the digital input short up, digital output, analog input value change, analog output value change, analog out, on and off, system value change. These are the main functions I need. If you have sensors or counters and GSM, if you have that in your installation or in your project file, then you need to check that one as well. And after that, go back to cloud settings and enter the username here. I am going to add this to support@inners.com and enter the password. So after entering the password, save this to central unit. So if by any chance there is a problem with the connection to CU, then check problem with the authorization of username and password. In that case, you will not get the gateway available in the cloud. So immediately after entering the cloud configuration in the central unit, the central unit is now available in the cloud. That is inners.cloud. So you will see the central unit here with no devices, and the MAC address will be same as your MAC address of the CU. Thus you can confirm the same CU is configured here. So after adding the gateway, you need to add devices to the gateway. Section, you will see only the ELAN RF devices, because if you add the ELAN gateway or if you added the devices in the application, in the Inners mobile application, and if you add the devices in the ELAN in the application, everything will automatically come here in the cloud. So you will see only ELAN devices here. You can see all the MAC address and the gateway type here, technology ELAN. So you need to manually add the devices which you need in central unit. So go to add devices, then device name. So here first I am going to add the on off device. So I am going to write light on is called SA3, and in relay 4 or relay 3. Okay, so I can write and select the gateway. This is the bus gateway, and device type is on and off. Since the SA3 we selected, then on and off, and we need to select the address. So here automatically all those exported file will come here, and we need to choose the right address. That is SA3. This is not the switch. So SA3 relay 3. So save device, and I need to add more devices. Same light on off SA3 relay 4. So same, select gateway, device type on or off, and select the address SA3 relay 4. So save. So once added the device, then you need to create a room. So there is no room available here. To get these devices available in the application, you need to create a room here. Once you create the room, this room will be available in the application, and you will get all the devices added to this room in the application, in the mobile application. So I am creating a room name CU3. We name the CU as test. So test CU3, and the gateway is 142, that is the bus gateway, and here you can choose any icon. So I am just picking the bedroom, and the technology is CU3, and then I am saving the room. So once the room is saved, we need to add the created devices to the room. So I click the room, and then I add the devices. So press here, selected room name is there, and the added devices. So since we already added the central unit to the gateway while we adding the device, those devices which is added to the same central unit will be shown here. So I will first add relay 3, then add device, then add more device, SA4. So I'm adding that device. So these two devices are now available in the bus. So now we will go and adding the other type. Now we added on and off. Then now in the next step we will add the dimmer. Now we are going to add the dimmer. So for that, add devices, select dim, and then DA3 output 1. So select gateway, and then here we choose the device type dimmer automatic, and then the address of brightness. So here we can write DA here it is there, the output 1. So save. So DA3 output is also added. Same way we can add shutter also. So here I can choose the shutter logo, and then gateway, and then the device type shutter basic. So here you can enter the up and down address, and if it is like the tilting mode also, then you can enter the address up, down, and the tilting one also. So that is how we need to add the shutter. And I have here now the RGB, so I will add now RGB dash RF. I have added the RF RGB to the bus devices, so RF DAC, then gateway. So here we can choose RGB light here, and then the address RGB automatic, and here RUD. If you simply add RUD here, then we will get RFDA here. No, it's no DAC. Here green and blue, and then save. So this is how we can add dimmer. We can add automatic and the alpha mode also. Now I will show you how to add heating and cooling device. So for that, add device and give a name HC device and choose the icon gateway, and the type of the device is HCA, automatic heating and cooling automatic. And then you need to choose the address of the controller. So the controller is the one which you created for the heating and cooling area in the system manager of the IDM. So that address should match here. So if you know the address, you can enter that address here, or you can just add a controller or type controller. It will filter the name. So this is the name of the controller, and next is the plan, whether it is heating or cooling plan. So you can type plan here, it will automatically filter, and this address should be similar to the main to the address of the controller. And address manual means whether you are choosing the circuit mode, which mode you want to switch to, auto, manual, or fabric. So you can choose and type here manual. The address should be same as above. And address set temperature means the selection of the desired temperature for heating. So in the controller output, there is an output for set temperature for heating. So we will type okay, controller required temperature output, and address set cool temperature means type here cool. This is the desired temperature settings for cooling. So controller required cool term output, and then address of the address temperature, that means selecting the current temperature. So which device you are choosing to select the current temperature from the field. So you have to enter that. I choose GRT3 in the heating and cooling area controller, so I am adding that one, GRT internal temperature, and control type. So control type means whether you are choosing heating or cooling type. So to make it easy, type here, so it will automatically filter the address, and then address on means the control circuit, heating or cooling, whether on or off. So type control, yes, this one, controlling, and this is the address of heating and cooling controller. So type HC, and address of the required heating. That means the address of the heating controller which is going out. So heating required heat, yes, and this is same as above. That means the required cooling output. So required cool digital output, and this is the relay determining the status of the icon of heating, whether once you switch on the heating, so which relay has to operate. So you can either choose bits or you can choose a relay. So here I will choose a relay, let's say 3 relay 6 for heating and relay 1 for cooling, and then save the device. So you will see a message here, device created successfully. Also measure any temperature or any analog values from the bus installation, and you can display it in the mobile application or the cloud. So for that I will show you an example how to add that device. So add device, and device name is like guest room temperature. So I will choose the icon for thermometer in the gateway, and the device type is analog value. Why? Because we are measuring a value from a device. So this section is the address value. So which device, the address of the device which we are taking the value. So I have WSB in my installation in my guest room. So I am measuring the temperature of the guest room with that device WSB. So I will choose the address of that device, WSB internal thermometer, and multiplier means the coefficient or the value which we need to multiply and to display it in the application or where we want to display. So usually the multiplier is 0.01. It is like a coefficient for the calculation, and addition means any offset value. So here we don't need any addition, 0, and you can set the maximum value. Here we can choose 40 or 50. I will choose 50, and also we can set the minimum value. We can choose here 0, and set decimal means the number of decimal value after 0. So here we choose 2, and the unit of the measured value. Here, in our case, we are measuring the temperature and the unit is Celsius. So after entering these details, we can save the device. Here you will see all the devices available here in the cloud from ELAN and from the CU3 gateway. So here we can choose the gateway, we can select the gateway, or we can filter the gateway. Or here, if you have more than one central unit, then you can select it as a technology, if it is CU or if it is ELAN, and we can filter it as different type of devices like on off or dimmer or heating or cooling. And also here you can sort it as the alphabetic name, device names, and you can delete here. You can select device and you can delete it as well. So after we add all the device from the CU and ELAN, now it is important to add all the CU devices to its own room. So I have added one room before when we add the on-off device. So we will add more devices to that room. So add devices. So the room name is here, technology is here. So here it will show the pending remaining devices. So guest room devices I will add, and then let's see device. Okay, so all best devices are in here. So all these devices are from the same CU. If you have a different CU, you can create different room here, add different room. You can give room name, and you can add another CU's devices there, or you can add different devices from different CU in different rooms as well. So it depends on you. So it is a must that you need to create a room here, then only that will reflect in the application. Of Inel's cloud is rules or conditioning. This enables the linking of function within the entire Inel system, whether it is RF or bus gateway. This service monitors the conditional input functions and based on their changes controls the selected output function. So here we can choose input functions from any devices from RF or from the bus. Same in the output function case also. You can choose any devices from the RF or bus as an output function. It is thus possible to condition functions within one or more systems. After clicking this conditioning tab, a list of conditions will be displayed. If you have not created them, the list will be empty. So here we did not created any rules, so this field is empty. So in the upper right corner, you can create new rules, or if it is empty here also, it is available. So we will see how to create the rules. So after clicking here, you will see a window coming, and this portion, this is the input, and this portion is the output. So you can choose the input function if condition. If the input function, then the output will act accordingly. So you can choose one or more device. So after selecting this one, you can choose any devices from here, and then you can add more conditions, like if condition 1 and if condition 2 works, then the output condition will initiate. So this is the conditioning in the Inel's cloud. Here I will show you an example of one conditioning which I will choose the input function from the RF device and the output function will be from the bus device. So in the condition here you can select a device. So from here I will choose the motion detector and click add selected, and then all the parameters will appear here, and then we can choose which function you need. So here I will check the motion. If the motion happens, then which device has to function. So I will choose this SA3 relay 3. These lights has to be on. So I will add this one, and here you can check whether this function will be turned on. So if this situation occurs, so if the motion activate, then this light will turn on. And here if you don't need, then you can reset it by clicking here. So I will add again. This is the collapse function. So if you didn't see anything, then press here, then the parameters will appear. Check the motion. Okay, so after creating this, then you can test it by the play button. So in the field you can see it, and also after creating this one you can enable or disable it before deleting it. And after creating a rule, you can save it here. Also you can add multiple devices in one condition. So here you can add, so I will add window detector here. So if the motion detects and the detector detects whether the door is open or open, then only this action will appear. So after creating the rule, click save, and then it will save. So if you want to rename this rule, then you can rename it rule 1 RF bus, and then save here. So it will appear here. So you can enable or disable the rule, and then if you don't need, you can delete it and you can deploy the selected rule. So it will appear in the action. So the conditions can be named anything. After saving, the conditions appear in the list of all conditions, and the conditions are controlled by the cloud connection of the controlled communication gateway. So please note that without an active connection, the condition will not work. I will now open the Inals application in my mobile, and I will add the central unit to the mobile application. And so go to the account section again. Here you will see the cloud icon. We can turn it or turn off, and then we will now manually add the CU. So you will see a plus icon on the top. Click there, and it will automatically search for the gateway, but you need to add it manually. Select the gateway and enter the IP address, and make sure that the application and the CU has to be in the same network. Give the name, port, there is no password, so add the gateway. It will add successfully. Once it is added successfully, you will see the cloud icon in the gateway section. And if you go back to the room, You will see all the devices which we added in the cloud will appear here. So now it is possible to add all the bus devices directly from the gateway without any connection server.